What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bring you guys day number 3 in my first ever 12 days of Xmas, where we will be watching and reviewing 12 Christmas-themed horror films that I'm essentially picking at kind of random. I didn't really have a plan or anything. I just was like, let's just review stuff that I want to watch. So yeah, the film that we're reviewing today. So yesterday, with Dead End, I mentioned that it was more depressing than I had remembered, or at least it hit me harder yesterday than previous times I've watched it. And I decided to follow that up with another depressing ass movie in what could be maybe the most depressing horror film I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of depressing horror films. It's a type of movie that I actually enjoy and I like to watch because of the weight of it. It, affects me significantly. So whenever a film is able to make me feel an emotion, like, that's usually a good thing. That's why I watch movies. Sometimes for laughs, sometimes for, sads, and sometimes to be depressed as fuck. But the film in question is Silent Night from the year 2021. And this is a movie that came out and snuck out on AMC Plus. It was a RLJ Entertainment release, and it dropped on AMC Plus. I don't remember a lot of people talking about it. There were people in my circle who had seen it, and it actually did end up making my top 10 that year. It was very high, like number 4 or 3. I absolutely loved it, but I was always kind of hesitant to rewatch it because it was so damn depressing. And I ended up picking this Blu-ray up for pretty cheap on Amazon because I had realized that it actually had a physical release, so I picked it up. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a rewatch. It's been a couple years. Let's see if it still holds up. And it definitely did. But I do want to just give a minor spoiler alert. It's not a major spoiler, and I can't really talk about this movie because it's like a core piece of the plot, so I have to sort of talk about one aspect of this movie. But it's an aspect that I did not know about going into this film, so that's why I didn't know anything about this movie. So it was a surprise to me, but it's really just a part of the plot, and it's part of the description and even on the cover a little bit. But essentially, it follows a group of friends and a couple of their kids who get together during the Christmas holiday to sort of celebrate, have dinner, reminisce, and there's sort of a lingering aspect that the world could be coming to an end. And I think this movie was just handled so brilliantly. So that's basically the core narrative. A bunch of people get together who are longtime friends. Some of them have kids, and they're having dinner and going over some final things, all trying to enjoy the last day they have on Earth potentially, and sort of ignore that aspect about it, but it's sort of lingering there the whole time. And I just think this movie is so good. So first of all, this entire concept of like the world ending and everybody sort of trying their best to enjoy the last moments people have. You get the sense that people knew this was going to happen for quite a while. It wasn't like sprung on everybody because there's a whole system in place for this situation. And it's just so damn depressing, like, because you could tell that like everybody knows what's happening, but it's like they put their guard down just enough to almost, it's like, is it really gonna happen though? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that the world is ending and you're going to be dead in a few hours. It's a hard concept for your brain to actually grasp because most people always think there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like it's human nature to sort of want there to be light at the end of the tunnel, and you can kind of get through most things. But when or even if you can't, there's things that live on, but in this case, that's not the case, potentially. And the characters, the way they sort of forget for a moment in moments of time that there is no tomorrow, you know what I mean? It's such a weird thing to think about and see and stuff like that. There's some really good scenes in here that are very heartbreaking stuff in this movie, but there's like a great scene where they're sort of getting everything, all the history of their group out on the table. They're being honest because why not? And this person had a crush on this person's wife, and this person's wife had sex with and cheated on her significant other with someone's husband. And they sort of lay all that out on the table in a very interesting way. It's like a group therapy session, and the way that ends, I thought was like a really cool choice. Like, because you think it's almost gonna go like a certain way where like people have all this animosity and stuff, but it's like it's like not like that at all. You'd have to see it to understand what I'm talking about, but it's like they sort of just embrace everything, and they are all really good friends despite that stuff that had happened, and they all care for each other and stuff. And then there's this whole other aspect of the film that I always picked up on, but I think I picked up on it a little bit more. I don't know if there's almost like an abortion commentary in this film, because there's one woman who's pregnant and doesn't want to kill her child, because there's a subplot, there's a plot point in this film where there is basically a suicide pill that they're able to take this because how the world's ending is a very like painful type of way. So there's basically like a pact to go out with, as they say in the movie, dignity. And this woman who's pregnant does not want to do it because it would be killing her unborn baby, and she has a problem with that. And then the kid doesn't want to do it because he doesn't quite understand the gravity of the situation, and there's this commentary with his parents where should they have the right to kill their kid for his own good, or should he be able to make that choice for himself? And there's this whole like aspect of the film with that is very thought-provoking. And then there's also like in the final act of the film, it gets really like sad, and there's like these very thought out moments of how everybody's doing with it. They're sort of isolating with their closest family and stuff like that, and it's just it's interesting. And like there's this whole bit with like this Coke, which is almost sort of like a comedic thing, but it also works in just like this guy's trying to be the best dad he can given the circumstances till the very end. It's just, man, this movie is, I think it's brilliant, I think it's great, but it's also just very, very dark and nihilistic and depressing. But man, do I love it. I mean, I think this movie is great. If you've never seen it, definitely check it out if you're okay with those themes and being kind of bummed out after the movie, because the whole movie is very dark. And Moods, co-host on the podcast, you guys know Moods, like he doesn't like this movie because it's like too damn depressing. Like I think he, knows it's a good movie, but he doesn't like the movie because it's too depressing. And I get that because it is a very depressing movie, but the acting is really great all around. The kids do a great job as well. The parents are all great. It's a different type of Christmas movie, and it will not make you feel good. So keep that in mind. If you've never seen it, check it out. I give this film a 8.5 out of 10. It is great. So that is day number 3. We will see you guys with day number 4. Peace.